Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today in our webinar addressing the how to modernize the retail operation with the robotic process automation. I know not everyone is well aware of RPA. So today we're going to introduce the RPA and be more specific in addressing how it can help you in the retail industry. I have with me today my colleague Yasser Anwar, who will be explaining and will be the host of our webinar today. Thank you very much. Yasser, please go ahead.
Thank you, Fatma, for the introduction. And I really hope we can benefit the most out of this webinar. And we're very grateful to all the people that have joined us today. So we're going to start with a bit of evolution in the industry. This is basically how the retail industry, the early concept of having shopping malls placed at various locations for customer convenience, and how it changed then to online stores that kick-started the retail automation. It also provided various facilities to customers and A's with a lot of different options, payment modes, or even deciding on which product they want. Then there was the introduction of the ERP system that connected the various dots, or I'll say filled a lot of gaps. And now we finally have the intelligent automation. This increases efficiency in the way how the retail industry is currently operating. So you can see that how these companies have been thriving as they look towards automation and many other solutions. They look to constantly improve and provide value for the customers as well as all the stakeholders. So it is up to the companies to decide if they want to be from the ones that avoid automation or from the ones that thrive in order to succeed in their industry. And this is exactly what the power of automation is. We have seen how companies like Amazon, Uber, Netflix have, done so well in their industry. So automation does get credit to that. Now, we have seen over the years how automation has proved itself to be a necessity and not a choice in different industries. Through various departments, or automation has contributed in better invoice processing, in better managing the inventory, and it has it promises a good future. The market value for retail automation is going to be very promising by the year 2020, as you can see. So we have a quick survey question that is going to come up. Yep, before we go into the details of what RPA is, we just want to have a quick survey to understand what sort of information does our audience need. Right. So there are a lot of companies that have been using it in some form or the other. And there are a lot of companies that are aware and familiar what RPA is, but they're not yet sure if they should implement or not. And there are a lot of companies that have not heard about RPA. So the goal is to do justice to everyone that's attending this webinar. So what RPA is? It literally took a pandemic for us to realize the importance of digital transformation as a trend. And we have seen that this is a trend now that implementing RPA has significantly increased in the past few months. And what it is basically, RPA is not a walking or a talking robot. It is a robotic software that automates daily repetitive tasks done in various departments. It is basically a digital employee that can take care of all the manual tasks that are repetitive, require no human judgment, are error prone, have a requirement of 2 or more systems. And it also gives more opportunity to the workforce to focus on core activities and implement better strategies that can produce better results for any company. So what are the things the RPA can do? day-to-day repetitive tasks like logging into different applications, moving some files and folders, copy pasting data, filling any forms, or even receiving and entering those data into any system. All of these are daily operations that are done in companies, which the RPA has the capability to do so. How are these bots classified? So we have the AI enabled bots. They are expected to manage a higher degree of complexity, decision making, and end-to-end processing. Then there are cognitive bots that have the ability to learn, adapt, and work with less structured data in more complex processes. Then we have the basic bots. There are the attended bots and the unattended bots. The attended bots are like virtual assistants that help an individual employee with their tasks, which results in a lot of productivity and even improve internal efficiency. The unattended bot, however, run automation that works on its own and execute the entire processes independently. They follow a rule-based process to completion. Both of these bots consist of different types and capabilities. So that can be decided based on or according to your requirement and the processes that you require to automate. Looking at some of the benefits of RPA, RPA has heavily contributed to reduce cost and excel in providing better customer experience. How does it provide better customer experience? Is through RPA, the organizations will be able to interact, engage with their customers in a timely manner and in a more efficient manner. You can have teams focus more on solving those core problems, and instead of in spending time to understand what the problem is or to collect all these problems. Then we have the fact that it lowers operational risk because it has the capability to eliminate the human error. You know that data is something that the companies deal with a lot nowadays. So it's very important that these data based on which decision making is done are accurate. And to ensure that these data are accurate, implementing RPA or having bots on board that can provide you data that are completely error free, and they also improve internal processes. So RPA can work in different departments and perform various processes in various functions. It really helps improve internal efficiency, and it can also leverage your existing IT systems. So in order to implement RPA in your organization, you do not need to heavily invest on any other IT product or solution to get the onboarding of RPA. So it can completely be leveraged to your existing IT systems. And RPA is also compliance perfect. It is a 24/7 solution for companies, and which is totally compliance perfect. These are some companies that have adopted RPA. We have seen that some of these companies have earned a 4 times return of investment on and have managed to robotize all their processes, all their manual processes, and some of these have earned about 2 times the return of investment. Now, RPA in the retail. These are some of the commonly automated processes throughout various departments in any company, which is the supply chain, IT, finance, and marketing. You can see that these are manual processes which companies invest a lot of time and a lot of money into, which can be done so in a lower cost and in a timely manner as well through RPA. We will be looking into the processes for supply chain in detail later. So example of automation. So over here, you can see in the first diagram, the before scenario, where when the goods are received by a company, it takes a lot of manual effort for accounts payable department. And this account payable personnel matches the purchase order, receiving documents and invoices, after which finally the payment is issued. This leads to a lot of mismatches, delay in the process, and dissatisfied suppliers, as well as costly errors. However, in the next diagram, you can see that this process is re-engineered through database or automation, and there is a central database that does most of the invoice matching, receiving, and processing, leaving the accounts payable person to only focus on making the payment to the vendor as soon as the documents are matched in the system. This improves not only the accuracy of overall process, but also ensures lower operational costs. According to various studies, invoice processing can normally cost anywhere between $5 to $25 for a single invoice. So imagine if a company, which most of the companies actually process 1,000 invoices in a day, they are losing a minimum of $5,000 a day. So how much difference automating a certain process or the way things are being currently done and can be done with automation really benefits. It's very important to look at these benefits. What opportunities does the retail industry have? Through RPA, trade promotions, and all these various processes that you're seeing on the screen can automate and produce a lot of good results. In the trade promotions, for example, you can remove, human error and drive efficiency. It will increase the ability to quickly and accurately track and analyze how promotions are performing. You can have even sales analytics. The RPA can provide you full audits or with real-time insights, which help retailers and suppliers to carry out more effective analysis and maximize the sale revenues. Or maybe when it comes to having an in-store planning, RPA can tap into existing databases and can give the retailers access to proper and accurate information on a store-by-store basis. So that helps planning. That helps planning easier now. And there's also when it comes to introducing a new product, we have seen companies invest a lot in research and development of how to ensure that there is successful inauguration of these products. Well, RPA can easily automate process that are related to any alerts or monitoring any client opinion in real time. And this can help retailers actually adjust the pricing and production based on that, or even have the inventory fasten. So that is another aspect to look at. There's another survey that will be coming up. Right, so we want to understand what would be your main reason to invest in RPA before we look at some of the processes, some of the use cases and case studies. And from experience, I can tell you that invoicing and reconciliation are certain processes that are the demand for retailers when it comes to automating the processes. All right, so let's wait for a few seconds. And also compliance is also one department that the retailers are really worried about most of the time. So RPA can help you with such processes. All right. So it's very good to having engaging audience. So I really appreciate your replies to all our survey questions. Now, this is a heat map of some of the processes in a procurement department. And this necessarily does not just, it plays a very big important role for retail industry, but also certain organizations or companies, because procurement is a very common department. So these are some of the processes that have various automation potential. And earlier that I explained about attended bots, that attended bots are, I'll just once again, highlight it, that they are bots that act like virtual assistants, and they can help an individual employee with their task. So it really improves the way how the employee is working, and also improve internal efficiency. So you can see some of these processes have a requirement of the attended bot. So you know that to automate this process, you require an attended bot on board. These are the main processes in the procurement department that have the highest automation potential and that can provide amazing results. As you can see, it's mentioned that the supply chain problems cost companies a lot, and the process mentioned over here can typically are prone to automation and produce great results and improvement for any supply chain operation. So these are the process that are, even from experience, we can say that are automated in different organizations. In the logistics department as well, there are certain processes. So there are common processes between the procurement and the logistics department. So you may be seeing some of the processes that are repeating, but as I mentioned earlier, invoicing and order management, or even reverse management, when it comes to creating an RMA, all of these things are highly manually done and repetitive in retail organizations. So these are certain processes that really need to be automated and will be very beneficial. So order management, again, entering, creating a purchase order, making changes to the purchase order, all of these can be automated through RPA. And there will be some repeated process as they are common between the procurement and the logistics department. But also, for even dispatch centers, working on the complaints or receiving any return of a product, which can be common for, any retail organization as well. So when you receive the return of this product, how do you currently enter it in your systems? You can use RPA to, automate those processes as well. So there will be faster return and, changing in the products. We're going to share some use cases, some success stories along as we go ahead. And this is one of the use cases. So this retailer has 300 plus hypermarkets. And what the solution was, they wanted a reconciliation process to be automated. And this was done, by standardizing the input and automating the full process. And you can see that the benefits were, it created significant time saving. When it came, the time taken to enter all these details into the ERP system, it saved a lot of time, and the reconciliation saved over 70% of the manual effort. This also resulted in getting faster feedback to the vendors, which obviously improves high accuracy, and they can actually work on resolving these issues. And if there are some products that might have minor issues, through RPA, if you get timely and fast feedback, you can resolve these feedback before the actual launching of this product and work on them, and then these products will start creating better results for you. We have a client success story for one of our clients. This is Mr. Raed Hafiz, the CEO of El Grocer.
My name is Raed Hafiz. I'm the CEO of El Grocer. El Grocer is an online grocery marketplace, allows shoppers across all of the UAE to order their groceries and essentials. Handling groceries means a very high number of transactions on a daily basis, and which creates a lot of work and a lot of repetitive work. RPA was a perfect solution for us to organize the work and to allow us to streamline and to optimize the efforts that our teams are doing. We went through most of our processes, and we looked for what was requiring a significant amount of human effort without a lot of creativity requirements. A lot of high repetitive transaction work like financial processing, online payment processing were a perfect fit for automation with RPA. So overall, the process from beginning to end took less than a month. The actual scoping of the process, writing down the requirements and analysis was about half of that, and then the actual development and deployment was the other 2 weeks of the work. We looked at a number of different parties. We have worked with Numite in the past, and we found their work to be highly professional. We were very happy that they were also brought in a lot of domain know-how. So they were not just focusing on the technology itself, but they actually knew the problems that we're trying to solve and the best way to solve it and to automate. As business grew, obviously as part of COVID and customer adoption, the amount of online payments and high-level transactions continued to grow. Without automation, we would have had to continue to throw people at it. And so with RPA, we were able to grow at the same time, not having to continue to commit more resources. We actually were able to improve the automation process to create more reporting and analysis and get some insights into the data rather than just having to keep up with generating reports manually.
So this example by Mr. Raed Hafiz also tells us the fact that RPA is a solution that can be used for not just any large enterprise or an organization, but also for startups and internet online businesses as well, because it really helps improve efficiency. Right, so we have another survey question that will be popping up. Just trying to understand, if you were in a situation where you would look to automate RPA, what processes would you prefer to automate through RPA? So we know that the retail organizations spend a lot of time on manual data entry, a lot of not just time, but even there's a lot of money that's allocated to such tasks. There's a lot of money allocated to the marketing or to getting data to understand how to make the company or the product better. Right. I also like to highlight that as we go towards the end of the presentations, you can feel free to put up any questions in the chat box, and as we move to the end, we will be answering all of them. So this is another use case in the procurement department where there was creation of a purchase order required and any approval of the workflow. So on an average, the client was receiving about 1,000 to 3,000 quotes on a monthly basis. All of them entered and tracked into the company's into the ERP, and it took a lot of time. However, by automating them, it helped them save 750 staff hours per month. So we're going to look at that. Yeah, so these are reports that are generated through the, as you can see previously, there were a lot of invoice purchase orders that came in different templates, different formats, and the RPA collected all this data, extracted all this data, and entered it into the Excel sheet in the form of the report.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Yasser. If you could please go back to the beginning of the report of the use case, because we were not able to hear what you were saying exactly.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for highlighting that issue, Mohammed. So over here, as we can see, what happens is the invoices are processed using the optical character recognition. The bot converts all the data into a structured data, and it's all converted into an Excel report. So as you can see, there are certain purchase orders that are showed over here, and they all come in a different format, in different designs, different templates. The RPA is going to collect, so the bot is going to collect, extract all the data as per your requirement. It can be as per your requirement, and then put it all into an Excel sheet. There's a report generated. It can be entered into the ERP system. So whatever your requirement is, it can work according to that. And this is just a small demo as to how fast the bot works. So this is the bot doing all the work. It's been collected. So as soon as the files are transferred, the reports are being created. You can compare the data from compared to the purchase order. All the amounts are accurately entered. The total value that you will be noticing is exactly same as the one in the purchase order. The vendor name is correct. So this can be set up according to whatever your requirement is, whatever are the important fields that you require for your operations. All right, so I'll just go through this. And then it can create a report based on, if it's a collection of all these data together or entering into any CRM or any other enterprise application. So this is another beauty of RPA, is that it is compatible with any existing enterprise application, whether it's any ERP system, any CRM, anything. So this is the report that is generated. Right, I think we can move on to the next. Right. So now how to implement organization, you would be wondering, now that you know a lot of information, you have information on RPA, its benefits, and some of the processes that you can automate. By now, you probably already have some of the processes in your mind to automate. How to actually start your automation journey is going to be, first step is going to assess the opportunity. So before actually moving into anything, it's very important to look at all the processes in your current organization that, as I mentioned previously, are rule-based, are repetitive, are manual, does not require human judgment. All these factors are to be considered. And the second step is to allocate a budget to your RPA journey as you move forward. So that's very important to have budget implementation, and then these look at these process in detail as to which, because see, there is a lot of automation opportunity, and somewhere or the other, all the processes have some automation potential in them. So it's very important to analyze and pick up the best process that can produce the most value for you. Then it comes to decide an implementation partner. That would be us, like how we are an implementation partner, and how we can support you is that the implementation partner will re-engineer the entire existing process and do their best to achieve the results or the outcome that is in mind of the company. So it's very important to get the right implementation partner on board. Once you have the implementation partner that will provide you support in discussing the process and re-engineering the process, they can produce a proof of concept for you. And how this proof of concept helps is that it can help your management to make a better decision, because sometimes when you're investing money in something, when you get to actually have a short experience or see the product, then it becomes easier to invest in such technologies. It also helps you understand the limitations of the technology, as to how it will perform and work within your current company setup. And then is the operating model, which is basically highly dependent on the end goal of the organization, whether they want to be more strategic in their approach of automation, or whether they want to be a bit efficient and have a certain small budget based, and then based on those results, look to further further automate other processes as well. And this is another good thing about RPA, is that you can always start small and think big. However, it is very important to note that the more the process you automate, the faster your return of investment is going to be. So the text, once this is somewhere your implementation partner will also provide you support. There are a lot of vendors in the market that have the RPA software. So the implementation partner will play an important role in helping you decide your automation partner, the vendor, the technology solution, because they can help you recommend the best technology that suits your requirements, your needs, so that you can make full use of the software, or you make full use of the RPA software. And if those capabilities of the software is in line in helping you produce results that will meet your overall goal. So it's very important for the RPA implementation partner to understand your requirements and recommend the right technology partner. Then finally, you need to roadmap your entire RPA journey. It's very important to have a roadmap and consider all these steps, and then clearly state how, when your automation should be deployed within your organization. And you need to think about all the processes as you move forward and have a proper roadmap in implementing RPA. So it's very important to have a RPA roadmap. Now you would be wondering that since there are so many types of bot, different types of bot with different capabilities, how do you decide the number of bots and all these other questions? So it's very important to look at the volume of the work or the process that you are looking to automate, because the bot can, it can be configured for as many processes you want. So let's suppose you have a process that requires only 12 hours of the time. Since there is bot, it can work 24/7. So you can allocate the bot to work for a different process for another 12 hours. So, this bot can actually work for 2 processes within the throughout the entire day. So this executing the time of the process that you're looking to automate and the overall time. So you need to really look at how much time a certain process is being taken to be completed at the moment right now in your organization, and how much time it will then take for the bot to complete. So these are important factors: the volume of the task, the execution time, and then the overall time, to understand the number of bots that you will be needing in your organization. However, the implementation partner really provides a lot of input in this scenario, recommending the accurate number of bots and the type of bots for all the processes. So this is something you can rely on your implementation partner as well. This is a standard automation timeline for simple processes. However, this timeline will be altered based on your requirements and the complexity of the processes and the number of processes as well. But for a standard, if you ask for a standard process automation timeline, the overall execution and for you to go live with the RPA takes a total of 6 weeks as displayed. But this is for simpler, normal, simple processes that might be requiring, less manual effort and all of that. So it's much more simple process. So if you have a very standard, simple invoicing process, that may require up to 6 weeks. So it completely, and this is again something your implementation partner can provide you with, the automation timeline to go live with your RPA journey. Now, Fatima will be introducing Numite Consulting as an implementation partner. What gives us the competitive advantage and what are our capabilities to help execute your robotic process automation journey? Over to you, Fatima.
Thank you very much, Yasser. Thank you for the information. It was very informative to hear you speaking about RPA and how it can benefit our clients. Numite Consulting is far more than an implementation partner for automation tools. I know that today we were addressing the RPA specifically, RPA technology and the automation tools. However, our value lies in the fact that we do understand the business very well. We do understand the processes and how it actually works within the company. So prior to implementing the technology, we study the status quo very well, how the process is actually going, and we try to optimize it as much as we can before we deploy the automation tool to guarantee that you get the maximum value for money and the best ROI. Please, Yasser, moving on to the next. Thank you. So as I was saying, we come from a management advisory background. That's our main strength. And we help our clients through a smooth digital transformation journey into a paperless environment. And one of the most important tools that we use in doing so is the robotic process automation, which my colleague Yasser just introduced us to. Moving on to the value of Numite Consulting and why would you work with Numite instead of working with someone else? The fact that we focus on the business and how it actually works and the processes gives us the advantage. The fact that we come from management advisory background and we do not just focus on the technology. It's very important that you align your implemented technology with the business objectives. And that's what we focus on to make sure that you are getting the best value from the technology you're implementing. So we do have the global expertise. Our partners and senior experts, they all come from C-level positions from international companies and regional companies. We understand how business goes through this specific region and how the culture actually works within the companies. So we're able to provide you with the best practice based on the industry you work in. We do have the operational expertise to break down the sophisticated and complicated concepts into small bits and pieces of values that you would actually feel the value of this service. We do understand the business very well as the technology. And as I just said, that we focus as much as we can on aligning your business objectives with the technology that you're using for you to get the maximum results. We do not look specifically at a small part of the process. We try to look at it from an end-to-end, try to re-engineer it, and then employ the automation tools at the let's say, piece of the process that's suitable for automation to make sure you have the highest efficiency for the process. We do focus on training the people, whether it was our people or your team. We want them to understand the technology very well. We want them to understand what's the point of it and how to maximize the efficiency of this tool and how to take advantage of it more and maybe in different processes, let's say. And finally, we make sure that the execution goes applicable, that it follows the best practice, whether it was in the IT or in the specific sector that your company operates in. And we definitely provide support during the implementation and after the implementation to guarantee that the technology is working well, that your team understands it well, and that, let's say, stabilization period is done completely and everything's going according to the plan. As you can see, we have experience working with most of the industries that you can think of, whether it was in the healthcare, in the retail, in the logistics, media companies, governmental entities, insurance, distribution, whatever it was, we have experience working with. Next slide, please, Yasser. Thank you. These are some of the automation partners and our technology providers that we work with. As I have mentioned earlier, RPA is the most important tool that we use in the digital transformation journey, which is why we are working with the two leading technology providers when it comes to the RPA, UiPath and Automation Anywhere, which are on continuous seek for developing and optimizing their automation tools. We also have Process IQ, which is a technology that helps you understand the current process better, so you can better predict the outcomes and how to actually optimize the process and how to identify your current bottlenecks. OCR, I think in the video that my colleague Yasser just showed us, OCR was also involved in the process. OCR stands for Optical Character Recognition, which is a technology that eliminates the need for data entry. It's capable of capturing the data from the files, so you don't have to deal with the headache of the paperwork. OCR and RPA, when working together, they can cover an end-to-end process that's fully automated. And finally, we do have, when it comes to OCR, we're obviously partners with Avi, which is the leader when it comes to the OCR accuracy in reading the documents. And finally, we have a few partners when it comes to the chatbots. I'm sure you've all have used a chatbot of one sort or another, whether it was for a government service or maybe a restaurant or any kind of service. With chatbots are bilingual that we work with, our partner. We're mainly partners with Arabot and Zabiba, which have the hugest customers worldwide. Thank you, Yasser. And this is a sample of our clients. As you can see, variety is definitely there. We do not focus on one industry. Okay, every industry has its very specific requirements. We understand that very well, but you have to understand that RPA can be utilized in any industry, in any department, as long as there's mass data entry, a lot of repetitive actions, and not a lot of decision-making skills needed, let's say. So as you can see, we have clients in the retail industry, insurance, in the e-commerce, in the telecom, construction, and so on. Thank you very much for taking the time to attend our webinar today. Please, we have one last survey question. Take the time to answer it. And if you have any other questions that you would like to address for us, please feel free to type them into the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatima, for the introduction of our company. And yep, so we are based in UAE, Saudi, and Jordan. So you can have a conversation with us anywhere and anytime, because we're also available virtually. And we will be setting up one-to-one meetings. And extremely thankful to those that have got back to us with the survey answer as well. So we can discuss how you can implement RPA throughout your organization. And please feel free to ask us any questions in the chat bot. Sorry, in the question in the chat area, so we can help you answer those questions. I think there are some questions that are already coming up. So as I mentioned earlier, we can sit and discuss your automation plans, explore automation opportunities, provide you full support in executing it successfully. So if you have any question related to anything, please feel free to ask us. So normally the next step is, once you're actually interested to have a conversation with us on your automation, we have a process discovery workshop where we brainstorm with our clients on the processes that can benefit them the most and are meeting the criteria for executing RPA. So that is the second step. Normally we have a process discovery workshop, and it can be a very fruitful session for us. So I believe I'll stay for a few more minutes for any other questions. There's no question that has popped up yet. It makes me nervous and happy at the same time, the fact that no questions are appearing. I feel that we have successfully managed to deliver the right information to our audience.
Let's be positive about this. Yes, Yasser, I agree.
I'm not sure, Fatma, if we should be positive at this time, but let's take this as a good step moving forward.
It's a good sign. True.
All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today for the webinar. And we really appreciate your time. And we really hope that you really think about RPA as a digital transformation solution, as this pandemic has really made us realize the importance and how we can lessen that interaction, that face-to-face interaction, to help ensure that everybody is safe. So as a conclusion, I would like to say, please stay safe, and hopefully we will get an opportunity to get connected soon. Thank you so much.